Hey, what's up, guys, man? I'm back. Here I am. Same scene. Same bad face. Same great bun. Same poop coffee. Actually, it's not the poop coffee. It's really expensive. I don't. It's a rare. It's a rare delicacy. But what I wanted to do here is just answer a few questions. We asked you, hey, ask us some questions. And that means now I got to answer some questions. And I got a ton of questions that you guys had sent me. Literally right now, they're coming in live. And so we're going to answer some of them. Well, the first question, what is the funniest thing that has happened when you're giving a speech? Oh, man, I think... Well, I'm always worried about falling, right? And I've definitely fell a few times, but I feel like one of the funniest things for me that's happened when I'm giving this, it's not even that funny, but if you guys know me and my style of communication, it's very rhythmic. Sometimes it's really fast, sometimes it's slow. We use words that kind of connect together, almost like poetry. But when I get into that, I've tried to really use where it's not just speech. I want it to be an experience. So there's a lot of body motion and movements, and all that stuff was very intentional. Kind of. It's not like I scripted my body movements, but I know that I want to use all of who I am to impact you. But I'm notorious for always running into the ladder behind me or the chair or knocking something down. And so there's definitely been some times that I was up in a venue up north that I totally knocked over my water, and then as I was continuing to do it, I stepped in it and I slipped and I fell. So that would probably be the funniest one. And dude, it always seems like it always happens, right? I'll be on a part of the speech that I know is really good, and I knock something over, and so like going to be this great moment of like just drama and intensity, and it's a super impactful moment, and then I knock this thing over, and everyone laughs. I'm like, dude, that just killed the moment. So, anyways, that's question one. Another question I have here is, how does speaking at schools affect my life? Man, that's a great question. That I could answer that on a ton of different ways. I feel one way that it affects my life for the most common and like right in my face is that I'm away from my family sometimes. They travel a lot with me, but they're not always with me. And being gone sometimes for 4 or 5 days, sometimes it's been 7 to 10 days with not seeing my wife and my kids, that can be a challenge. You know, our normal isn't the normal of most. You know, we're on the road 24/7. It's airports. Well, not right now. It's state to state, city to city, but not right now. But it's no, funny joke, right? We're all kind of pinned up in my house, but it's go 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 go. And I think for me, the most easiest way to address this is that our normal isn't very normal because of my crazy schedule. And so I've had to be very intentional with time when I am home with the wife and the kids to be super present. And I'll be honest, sometimes I struggle with that because of just some of the journey. And you may even hear my kids in the background right now running around. We're off in actually their playroom right now. I'm in their playroom right now, recording the content. So that's one way that this has changed. Another way that it affects me is I literally get to spend and live life with all of you guys. And I always say my story, your story, it's the story. And in that, you know, Juju's having a good time. In that is, I hear your heart. I hear so many of the stories when you guys come up and talk to me about your struggles at home, your mental health, your addictions, your battles, your things. And you guys you carry those burdens, and when you share them with me, you know, the stories of so-and-so telling me how they've attempted to take their life 4 or 5 times, so-and-so showing me the scars on their arms from self-injury, so-and-so telling me how they were sexually abused at home, or so-and-so telling me how they were verbally or physically abused, or so-and-so telling me how they don't have necessarily the food. I mean, I carry those stories with me. And that's why I do what I do, is because I want to give hope to the hopeless. I want people to know that no matter what storms that they have, they're your unique storm. I always say that we all have ladders of life, and the ladders are unique to us, but we all have to climb our ladder. And some of our ladders and our journey of this thing called life brings us a lot of adversity and a lot of challenges. And for me, I carry those with me. And so that's how it really affects me, because on the plane rides, on the car rides, my downtime, when I leave venues, I think about those things because I want to be effective. I want to be able to be a person that can honestly support you. Those are the two of the main ways that I think that this really affects me. Life on the road is my family piece, and then the stories that I live with, because I carry them with me. I just want to always make sure that what I share whenever I'm in a venue, I know that there are hurting and struggling people in that audience. And I know that we've gotten thousands of messages how these talks have helped impact and been a piece to help get you to get help, or for you to find the courage to keep moving. And honestly, if you watch this and if you get to this part of this Q&A on this question, if these talks have helped you, if they've inspired you, if they've caused you to take action, to do something to better your life, we would love for you to DM us, or you to email us, or you to reach out so we could see those testimonies. That's my biggest inspiration. So that's how this has really affected me, is I live life in a space where there's a lot of hurting people. And I carry all that with me. It's more than just a talk, it's an experience. So, okay. Another question. How do you learn? So, Riley, how do you learn to get over the tough things? For me, to learn to get over tough things is just you just got to do it. You got to face it. A lot of times we want to be like the ostrich and put the head in the sand. I don't know if ostriches really do that or not, but it's something that we always get taught about. But a lot of times we just want to put our head in the sand, and we don't want to face some of our realities. You know, for me, the best way to get through the tough times is just you're going to have to get through it. Avoiding it doesn't work. Running from it doesn't work. Suppressing it doesn't work. You've got to let it get air. You got to let it get light. It's kind of like a wound or a hurt or an injury. If you cut yourself, you know, yeah, you need to bandage it. Yeah, there's a time to sterilize it, to put stitches on it, and to put a bandage on it. But you also have to take the bandage off, and you have to let light, you have to let air, you have to let it heal by letting it, sometimes after you've kind of taken care of it, you've got to expose it. And I feel like that's the struggle for a lot of us, is when traumatic, difficult, challenging times happen, we want to suppress it, and we don't want to ever let it come back to the surface. I understand when it first happens that it can be raw and it can be challenging, and it can be a very sensitive or difficult time emotionally, mentally to deal with. And I'm not saying right then and there. There can be that small time just to kind of like, whew. But then you've got to take the bandage off and let it really truly heal, because if you don't, it won't heal properly. And so for me, how I've learned to get through tough times is, you know, when those tough times happen, have an honest assessment, really what the situation is. Let me try to have a situational awareness to the proper perspective of what's happening from all different angles. And then let's talk about it, and let's address it, and let's control what we can control, and not let our mind run a million miles an hour. And so for me, the best way to get through tough times is to talk about it and to face it and to go through with it. And I always say punch fear. And again, if you saw any of our last videos, you got to skydive that thing. I don't know why I do this, but I feel like I should, right? You got to learn to skydive that thing. And so that's how I've learned to get through tough times, is just do it. Let's see here. Can the bird, okay, I have a lot of bird questions right now because of Sherbert. So what's up, guys, man? So this is our bird named Sherbert. It's a parrotlet. It's supposed to talk. It does talk. I don't know how it's going to talk. It's still a baby. I guess it's going to pick up on my speech, What's crazy is though, it's it's a really cool bird. But when it talks, it's so high pitched like this, that it's hard to understand it. But yeah, so we've got this little bird. I got some questions like, how do you train your bird? No clue. I just have it. It's my friend. Should you get a bird? Yeah, maybe. It's pretty low maintenance. Our cage is like a little mansion out there. It does chirp every morning. Ours isn't quite as active. It kind of nibbles on you, does some like love bites. It doesn't really bite that hard. But this is Parrotlet. It's our newest family member. And I think it's my favorite pet. Maybe it's my favorite family member. It's my favorite kid. No, I'm kidding. Juliana and Ashton are rock stars. But if you have any idea of recording this video right now, my kids were in the house because, we're just kind of all, social distancing, right? They are talking and fighting and arguing like crazy, and this has been like so many cuts. You have no idea about that, but we'll make sure we get a good. We'll show you its mansion cave here in a second too. But sure, Bert. Okay, so we got the question of the question of the question right now. In this moment, the number one question that we got to ask is, how are you dealing with COVID-19? Well, we're just living life. We're staying active. We're not having too much idle time, because again, I think idle time, your mind begins to wonder and wonder and wonder and wonder, and you build this. So we're trying to use this time just to grow in life. I'm spending a lot of quality time being present with my family. I'm working on ideas of how to get great content out. Really, COVID-19 has really showed me how plugged into this busy, crazy, go, go, go world we're in. And truthfully, I'm a huge believer that time of reflection and time of being introspect is a really healthy piece of it, prayer and meditation. And when I talk about transparency, which is the number one of my 5, transparency, accountability, hard work, make good choices, and value people. Transparency, I always say, it's not that I'm just talking to other people about my struggle, but I'm taking time to reflect, and I'm just as much talking to myself. And so I feel like really what this could be a great opportunity for a lot of us is that we have a lot of time on our hands, and time is one of the most valuable resources that we have, because we never get that last second back. It's always, once it's gone, it's gone. And so we can use this time to really look at our lives, really look about where we are as a young man, as a young lady, as a young person, as an old man, as an old lady, as an old person, where we are in life, and ask ourselves a question: are we satisfied with where we are in life right now? And if we're not, we can begin to plot out some of those goals that we want to change. And maybe it's peer groups, maybe it's activities, maybe it's our past choices. But for me, COVID-19 can be a huge, huge benefit, blessing in disguise. And I say that with total thoughtfulness, that I know some people have been very sick by this, and it's affecting them. We've lost lives and friends and family. Like, I get that. But for the majority of people right now, that's life has been put on hold just because of the social distancing to lower the curve. We can use this time to be really reflective, introspective, and to unplug, and maybe get grounded back into our social and our emotional stance, and to kind of find ourselves. So for me, that's one area. Another area is that I'm being thoughtful and creative of moving forward. How can we continue to get this message out in the future if anything like this would ever happen again, right? Because if I can't do large events and large assemblies, and I mean, this has really affected many of us, but for me and my team, I mean, literally everything changed. But the message is still powerful. The message is still true. The message can still impact you. And so we're being really thoughtful of how to get this message through content via messages, videos to all of you. So that's how it's kind of affected me.